What's up, guys? Samoan Fan 101 here, and I just want to get through this not as quick as I can, not because I'm running low on time, I still got plenty of time, but because I don't want to talk about this show. I really don't. But because it's my duty and I pretty much fucking force myself into it, I guess I have to. This is my Monday Night Raw review. Fuck me, I guess. So, we started out. It actually was a decent segment. Reigns came up to try to talk. Thankfully, Stephanie McMahon interrupted, and the last thing we needed was a long, boring promo out of Roman Reigns. History shows that that's not the best route for him. Reigns was probably about to complain about what happened last week, and Stephanie came out. And then Foley came out to try to settle the issue. So that happened. Reigns had several complaints. Foley made it completely clear that he didn't want interference with last week's main event, which was Owens and Reigns. If Reigns won the match, he would be in the Universal title match at a Clash of Champions, which is, by the way, this Sunday. That didn't happen. So Mick Foley announced that Reigns would face Rusev for the U.S. title Clash of Champions. Later tonight, Reigns would face Owens in the main event of Raw. And his punishment, and this is what I'm getting out of it, his punishment for Rollins, because keep in mind, last week Foley said to Rollins that Rollins would be punished if he interfered in that match. And he made pretty damn clear to Rollins that he would do that. Rollins interfered. Foley said he would have a talk with Rollins backstage. I guess the punishment this week is supposed to be you get Rusev in the opening match in the card. That's your punishment? Damn. Mick Foley may be a good general manager, but God, his punishment skills suck. But then again, it's whoever the fuck writes the show. Mick Foley isn't writing the show. Kevin Owens came out, basically said, why should I face Roman Reigns even though I already beat him? Which is true. But Rusev also interfered last week, so there's that. And, they basically said, yeah, you'll face Roman Reigns. And Mick Foley said that it'll be in a steel cage, which, from what I saw on the I don't know that I was already set up, but from what I saw on the camera, it didn't look like it was set up. Maybe someone from the crowd can tell me whether or not, maybe one of you guys can tell me. For one of you guys who see this, you can say, like, okay, the cage was set up, the camera didn't show it. So, Steph and Foley were briefly arguing backstage. Stephanie and Foley were briefly arguing backstage, and then Rusev came in. Called Roman Foley jealous of his Rusev family. That Holy Foley, his family, was a complete dump. Questions for Mick Foley, of course. Rusev obviously does not know his place, being that Mick Foley is a hardcore legend and could probably kick his ass in his prime if he could. Hell, Mick Foley, all he has to do is take a barbed wire bat, hit him over the head, and Rusev will whine in the corner like a bitch. Apparently, Foley cannot do that on this show, so we're just stuck with Plan B, which is, you have a match with Rollins, go out there right now. This is not the Mick Foley of 2000. I think that's what I was expecting. I was expecting the Mick Foley of 2000 when he was basically the leader of WWF from like King of the Ring to pretty much the end of the year, so about 6 or 7 months. He was the leader of WWF. He ran a show, and he was awesome at it. Rusev and Rollins, they had even though it was short, I can't go put it past 3 stars, they had a pretty good match here for what they had. I think Rollins and Rusev on a pay-per-view main event would be believable, first of all, and it would be an awesome match. It would be both, and that is awesome. So that was that. And by the way, as I was watching this show, I was hoping that this show would do better than a 1.8. which was one of the lowest Raw ratings in history, which is what it got last week. And I even asked Lundrick earlier today, it's like, what's the lowest rating on Raw? He looked it up. He had to go back to December of 1996. Big difference there is that back then, there was a hot angle going on in WCW, and WWE was turning out a pretty shitty product with a few, good things here and there. Well, maybe not a shitty product, but it wasn't doing anything. And the fake Diesel Razor Ramon crap didn't help out either. Yeah. That's the difference though. The NWO was a hot commodity back then. What's so hot now today? Lucha Underground? Yeah, it's got a hot product, but only hot in the fact that the quality is awesome. Not a lot of people are watching it. People still watch TNA and Ring of Honor over it. NXT? It was awesome. It was definitely awesome, but less so now. But they lost several guys like Balor, Neville, Owens. They're going to be losing Samoa Joe. They still got awesome guys, but they got to work on the creative a little bit. This is not hot wrestling. Maybe in Japan. New Japan's thriving. But other than that, wrestling is not a hot commodity as it used to be. Just like 10, 15 years ago. Sorry about my rant. but yeah, they had a pretty good match. Rusev and Rollins, they both got counted out, which is a good thing because neither man should be losing before Clash of Champions. They fought to the top of the stage. Rusev eventually got knocked to the floor, and Rollins got on the announce table and did a leap from the announce table to Rusev, and that was a nice little spot. I was hoping he would do like an actual dive, not just a cross body. But we saved something like that for later in the night. I'll talk about it. Foley and Charlotte and Dana Brooke were backstage after the match, and Dana Brooke even brought up the fact that Sasha got pinned and Bayley got pinned. Both Sasha and Bayley's shoulders were on the mat. I complained about this last week that Sasha and Bayley's shoulders were on the mat when the pin happened. So, and Dana was like, Charlotte should be facing only one person because they pinned each other basically. And Foley's like, nah, make it a triple threat match. Even though Dana Brooke came up with the suggestion that Bayley and Sasha should be in a one-on-one match. I think, what my biggest gripe with this was? I'll tell you my biggest problem with this was the fact that it's not like with Sasha and Becky earlier in the year when they were to face Charlotte at WrestleMania, when they had their number one contendership match. It was only the two of them, and both of them got double pinned, even though Sasha just kind of laid backwards, which was fucking stupid. It wasn't like with Shawn Michaels, obviously a little bit different here, but with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, when both of them got pinned, it was a draw. Of course, he got his rematch, but it was a draw. And earlier in the year with the Becky Sasha thing, look, that made sense because like you can't have neither of them compete. So it's like, okay, both of them compete. There was only two people in the match. Here, you had three people in the match. You had Sasha, Bayley, and Dana Brooke. I think that's what a lot of people are missing here. Or what Foley, or what WWE's missing here, is that they put Dana Brooke in that match. Dana did not get pinned in the match. Sasha and Bayley did get pinned. Yet, they're the ones going to Clash of Champions to face Charlotte for the title, instead of Dana Brooke, who didn't get pinned, who didn't get beat, all because they want to continue this Dana Brooke slow-burning babyface turn, which is not going to work because she's just too fucking evil as a heel right now. The fans are not going to rebel against her like they rebelled against several other people that WWE wanted in certain spots. Give us what we want. Obviously, Vince, doesn't like give us what we want. The writers give him what Vince wants, not what the crowd wants. I just find it fucking stupid. Braun Strowman beat Sin Cara in 2 minutes. Apparently they dropped the jobber matches in favor of jobbing Sin Cara. Sin Cara, honestly, was probably better off on SmackDown than he was on the Raw. Charlotte and Dana Brooke had a tag team match against Sasha and Bayley. Thankfully, Charlotte and Dana won after Dana and Charlotte were made to look like fools the past few weeks, so positive, booking from their end. Although it does make Bayley and Sasha look somewhat incompetent on the way to Clash of Champions. And you can't even say, oh, Dana running interference. It's a fucking tag team match. That's what you do. We briefly had Rollins and Stephanie backstage. Rollins basically threatened Stephanie like, hey, I will be the most out of control champion you want. I don't care what you and Triple H are conjuring up, because honestly, and Rollins is right in the sense that who really believes that Stephanie didn't know that Triple H was gonna attack Rollins? Of course she knew. Of course she knew. So, yeah. Stephanie obviously tried to play, the face of all this, but God, we know it's not working. Why can't you just have Triple H pop up one day on TV and just explain his actions for why he did that to Rollins? Stephanie did bring up the idea that, okay, look, Rollins, he's been failing recently. It's his fault that the WWE title went to SmackDown. He lost to Finn Balor at the Universal title at SummerSlam. Sorry for that. So maybe that's the reason. At least they're continuing with that storyline. Bo Dallas beat a random jobber. Who cares? Because he did a fucking nursery rhyme before he's supposed to be taking like a serious character, but he still comes out with that giant sign that makes him look like a jackass. And he did a nursery rhyme before the match. That is just retarded. I do like his new finisher, though, which is the Crossroads. He basically took the Crossroads and Cody Rhodes. If that is a new finisher. If it is, he should be using it. Next, Sheamus and Cesaro had another match in the Best of 7 series. It was a decent match. Cesaro won the match, making it 3-3, so we're probably going to have the 7th and final match at Clash of Champions this Sunday. Hopefully these guys get a good 15 minutes, 20 minutes worth of time. These guys have the potential to work a pretty great match. They just need time. Give them that time. Don't give them 5 minutes on pay-per-view and say, oh, Cesaro wins. He gets Cruiserweight title shot. Which if he does, that'd be fucking hilarious. In the sense that it sucks. Foley and Jericho briefly talked out backstage because Jericho earlier in the night said, look, whenever Kevin Owens is wrong, Chris Jericho is wrong. And Chris Jericho had a clipboard. He said, and he called it the list of Jericho of all the things that he thought Mick Foley was doing wrong or that he didn't like about Mick Foley. He told Foley this, and Foley did, get a nice little quirk back in there where it's like, I can't hear you. Half my ear has been ripped off, you stupid idiot. That was funny. And then, of course, right before he left, he came back and was like, and you need to know that you're not in this place, whatever place he talked about. You're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You're in all these fans in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then he pointed at the camera and did the thumbs up. That I thought was funny because it's like he's known for cheap pops. And even Chris Jericho said, does babyface cheap pops? I thought that was a good backstage segment, in my opinion. We had several people come out to talk. Chris Jericho came out with a list of Jericho, mocked Mick Foley's the way he dressed. the way he ran Raw, some dude in the crowd, and then Enzo and Cass came out and said that he being Jericho and Owens are not really best friends, and then he listed down a list of famous best friends. Of course, Enzo and Cass was the first on there. One of them I thought was funny was Beavis and Butthead. Another one that I thought was funny was I forget what it was actually. It was it Sean William Scott? Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd. That should have been on there. Another one that should have been on there is Jim Carrey and whoever played the other guy in Dumb and Dumber. That would have been awesome. But they made like Ashton Kutcher and somebody else. I don't remember that. Even Chris Jericho's like, that's so obscure. Then Shining Stars came out to sell shit from Puerto Rico. Nobody cared. Then the New Day came out. People popped because it's the New Day. Then the club came out to run New Day down. Says that, look, we're not taking this shit anymore. We're going back to serious mode, which is what they did last week. Then Chris Jericho left. He mocked all of them. And then Sami Zayn came out to beat up Jericho. This was a clusterfuck of a segment. The Enzo and Cass part with Chris Jericho, up until Enzo and Cass came out, that was awesome. After the Shining Stars came out, it died a horrible death. It led to a 10-man tag team match between New Day and Sami Zayn and Enzo and Cass against the Shining Stars, Chris Jericho, and the Club. So, Team Zayn won after Enzo pinned Primo, I think. Primo or Epico, who cares? Even though it was a good match, it didn't matter to me. None of it mattered. We had something that pissed me off, honestly. Not the match itself, but the fact that they waited till this late to do it. The second to last major segment of the show was the Cruiserweights. And if you know from experience, the second to last segment of a show is usually the death spot, where the crowd just doesn't fucking care. So, Brian Kendrick, Gran Metalik, Swann, and Cedric Alexander, all of them faced off in a fatal four-way match to determine the number one contender to the Cruiserweight Championship at Clash of Champions, the championship being held currently by TJ Perkins, who won it in the Cruiserweight Finals. Cruiserweight Classic Finals, I should say. My big problem with it is the same problem that I had with Stephanie introducing Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte last year before the Battleground pay-per-view. It's the fact that, okay, you're introducing all these guys, which is great and all, but you're not giving us any real introductions. What they should have done was start the show out WCW style. Have the Cruiserweight start the show, maybe have Mick Foley get out there, give a little bit of hype to it, and then let the crowd know them on their own. No, instead, they did what Stephanie did last year. They had Mick Foley come out there, screw up several of his lines on the way, and on index cards, read off the wrestlers, which I think is just fucking stupid. Other than that, the match itself was actually a pretty good match. It was a nice fatal four-way match. These guys can work fast-paced. They got a little bit of time, which is good. The best person on the match here was definitely Cedric Alexander. He was definitely the best. Gran Metalik did a couple of crazy moves. Rich Swann did that jumping 450 splash from the ground. And Brian Kendrick eventually got the win with the bully choke, which they're calling it the Captain's Hook. I really hope Brian Kendrick did not actually call that the Captain's Hook, even though they said it on commentary. I don't think Brian Kendrick actually made that at all. I think, honestly, that name, Captain's Hook, that's made to make Brian Kendrick look like a complete dumb shit. Like, what the hell? The name is just so stupid. They should have just went with the bully choke, but this is exactly what it is. It's what Daniel Bryan's been calling it for the past 10 weeks on the CWC. So, okay, next match, Reigns beat Kevin Owens after Reigns escaped the steel cage. Rusev came out to attack Roman Reigns. They had him cornered. Seth Rollins came out to jump on top of the cage, and jump into a crazy ass crossbody from the top of the cage to Owens and Rusev. That was the end of it. By the time the cruiserweight stuff was over, I was done with this show because this show was sucking. The show sucked cock. The show sucked balls. The show sucked ass. It's like ass coming out of a rhino's nipples. The show is a steaming pile of goat shit drizzling out of the smog monster's asshole from Godzilla. Godzilla would be taking a shit and would destroy the WWE Performance Center just out of anger because he thought it sucked so much. God. I mean, my fucking feces could tell the show was gonna be a shit. My shit took a shit. That's how shitty of a shit this shit show was. Shit. God. I mean, I had a few good things on it, but they fucked up with about everything that they could. The opening segment was okay. There was a couple of good matches. Other than that, though, nobody cared. I didn't care. The only thing I really wanted to see on the show was the cruiserweight stuff, because that was made to be like a big deal. It's been building up for weeks. When you watch the cruiserweight stuff on the second to last spot on the show, which is effectively the death spot on this show, you watch it. Here's the thing: you watch it, and it's almost as if they weren't hyping it up at all. The problem is they were, and they fucked up with it. They had the best match of the night. I'll say that. Other than that, I didn't care. Brian Kendrick certainly did win, so at least he's gonna face T.J. Perkins at the cruiserweight title. I really hope that they get good enough time. I would hate this to be like WWE back in the day, where they got 7 minutes and then on to the next match. That would be pitiful. So that's my thoughts on Raw. Raw sucked. So if you have a problem with that, make a comment in the comment section below. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later with a SmackDown review. I'm hoping to get my top 10 video game series list. Maybe I'll record a video later today and upload it at the same time as I upload SmackDown. So until then, guys, see you later. This show sucked. Really, really sucked.